asked. Leanna had no idea who Mutt and Jeff were, but she assumed one was tall and one was short, just like her and Ivy. At 6 feet, Leanna was the tallest woman in Birch Creek, while Ivy was the shortest. Leanna tromped through the neatly shorn grass toward the front porch. Although she lived separately from her brother and his family, she joined them for meals as often as she could, and not only because she enjoyed their company. Her cooking skills were limited to making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, along with the occasional boiled egg, so she was happy to take her meals at Jalen's. As she sat down on the porch steps and removed one of her skates, Blue, her Maine Coon cat, strolled up to her. "Hey, Boo," she said, leaning forward to scratch him under the chin. "Miss me?" Blue sat down just out of Leanna's reach and looked at her. He sniffed the air and then walked off. "Huh, be that way," she chuckled. Blue used to be her closest companion until Malachi, Phoebe's young son, had won his heart. Now, Blue rarely left Malachi's side, and Leanna loved seeing them together. She didn't have enough time to spend with the cat anyway, considering how busy she was at work, and she was glad the two of them had bonded. She stripped off her other skate and put both her skates and the backpack near the front door, then slipped off her socks. Her shoes were inside the pack, but she didn't bother to put them on. It was summer, after all, the perfect time of the year to go barefoot. The moment she walked into the house, she breathed in the aroma of food cooking. That surprised her, since she figured she'd missed supper. Usually, Phoebe sat aside a plate for her when Leanna worked late. She headed for the kitchen and saw Phoebe standing at the stove scooping mashed potatoes into a bowl. "Auntie Leanna!" Malachi got up from the table and hugged her. He was an affectionate kid, another quality Leanna loved. She returned his hug, and he dashed back to his seat. She walked over to Phoebe. "Anything I can do to help?" Phoebe shook her head. "Supper's almost ready." She looked a little sheepish as she put her hand on her lower back. "I took a nap today, and that set me behind schedule, but Jalen and Adam are working late on the barn addition, so it turned out okay." Leanna nodded. Phoebe was 8 months pregnant, and although she never complained, Leanna had noticed she was favoring her back a lot more lately. She also looked tired. Knowing how Jalen hovered over her, Leanna believed it wouldn't have mattered to him if Phoebe had slept completely through supper time, as long as his wife had been able to rest. "I'm hungry," Malachi griped. Phoebe looked over her shoulder. "You'll have to wait on everyone else." Malachi slumped in his chair and then reached out and started pushing his plate forward, a tiny bit at a time with his index finger. The plate clanked against his cup of milk, making the liquid slosh. "Don't play at the table," Phoebe reprimanded. Malachi nodded, but Leanna kept her eye on him, and sure enough, he started pushing the plate again. She went to him. "That's not going to get you your supper any earlier," she said, then leaned forward and added, "Trust me, I know. I used to do the same thing when I was little." "I'm not little. I turned 5 2 months ago." "Excuse me, then. You're practically a grown-up." She gave him a sly grin and ruffled his pale blonde hair before sitting down across from him. Jalen came into the kitchen, followed by their cousin Adam, who wheeled his chair over to his place next to Malachi at the table. Adam put the brakes on his wheelchair, then slipped off his fingerless leather gloves and placed them in his lap. He and Jalen had obviously already washed up, since this pair of gloves was his household pair. He used another beat-up, dirty pair when he was working outside. Phoebe put the bowl of potatoes on the table and sat down. After silent prayer, she passed a plate heaped with perfectly browned steaks. Leanna's stomach grumbled in anticipation as she filled her plate with 2 pieces of meat, a huge spoonful of mashed potatoes, an extra helping of cream gravy, buttered corn off the cob, and a slice of bread slathered with homemade blueberry jelly. "Hollow legs," her father had called her growing up. Leanna didn't complain about the nickname. She didn't have to worry about food or her figure, something Ivy had admitted envying. "You never have to watch what you eat," Ivy had said over the years. "I have to watch all the time. Any extra calories get right to me hips." Unlike Ivy, Leanna didn't have hips or any curves to speak of. When she was younger, she had sometimes envied Ivy's petite, curvy figure, although she never admitted it out loud. Having a boyish frame had bothered her a little bit growing up, but now she was past such